Herm Gailey, here to talk to you about a healthy skepticism of things that people tell you about horses, and the need to confirm for yourself that the horse is as the person says. I don't know how many people have said, oh, this horse is so gentle, anybody can get along with him, anybody can ride him. And it turns out that the horse may have a few quirks that are somehow omitted from that statement. Not necessarily somebody lying to you, maybe somebody who misses that. Maybe somebody who doesn't understand their own horse. Maybe somebody, though, who would just as soon you helped out with the horse, but didn't want to tell you enough to discourage you from doing so. So when somebody says to you, would you like to ride my horse? And tells you about him, observe the horse and make up your own mind. So this story involves misrepresentations in the horse game and a childhood experience involving an alligator. I grew up in central Pennsylvania this would have been the late 1950s. I was still living with my family in town. We hadn't moved out to the farm yet. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And at that time, there was a very poor practice of selling various exotic animals through the mail. You could order an alligator, and by golly, in a little while, a carton with holes punched in it would arrive with a very small alligator in it, who would probably not make much of a pet, but would simplify things by dying pretty shortly. My grandfather kind of changed that equation when he made a trip to Florida and bought me an alligator and brought it home with him. And the alligator thrived. And we owned him for some time, if you can own an alligator. We had a downstairs bathroom in our basement area where we lived that we rarely used, and we certainly used it even less after the alligator took up residence in the bathtub. He would stay in there, and we'd put water in for him, and I would put dog food in for him, and he would wait for that to get appropriately rotten, which appealed to him, and then he'd eat it. But between the natural scent of the alligator and the fact that we maybe didn't clean his tub as quickly or as frequently as we could have, and the ripening meat, that basement was not real appetizing. The alligator had a peculiar behavior, and apparently it's common to these stalking reptiles. He would go into a form of suspended animation almost. He would get very still, not even move a muscle. You could not tell he was breathing. He would often have his jaws opened up, and he would lie there in absolute immobility, and for all appearances was dead and in rigor mortis, which I ended up turning to my advantage, because in the neighborhood there was a boy named Carl with a K. Often that's not a good thing. Carl with a K was a bully, classic bully. He was a little older, a little bigger, a little stronger, and a whole lot meaner than the rest of the kids in the neighborhood. And I had made the mistake of resisting a bit and was dealt with, and he had his way with all the kids in the neighborhood, including breaking the kid code and really the parent code too, and just walking into your house uninvited. So one day I'm down preparing to clean out the alligator's tub, and I hear the door open and in comes Carl. And I said, okay, you're welcome to come in. He says, well, what are you gonna do about it if I'm not welcome? I said, well, probably nothing, but I need your help, and maybe you'd help me out. Well, why would I help you out, you little piece of shit? So I said, well, I know you've seen my alligator, and I know you were interested in him, and he died. He's in there, and he's stiff as a board, and he's dead. And you know, Carl, I've gotten kind of fond of him, but the fact is we got to put him in the garbage, and I can't bring myself to do it. Would you just take my alligator and throw him in the trash? And Carl just laughs. He says, I'll throw that son of a bitch away, sure. So he goes in and he sees him there, not moving. And he says, yep, he's dead, isn't he? Reaches down, and that alligator came to life and grabbed him right here between your thumb and your forefinger. And Carl took off through the basement swinging that alligator, which finally came off, probably along with a little chunk of meat, and landed in the corner. And Carl ran howling from the house, and I had the not completely easy job of corralling the alligator and putting him back in his tub, but I did so gently and lovingly. Now, why in the heck am I telling a story about a bully and an alligator and so on in a horse video? Well, never assume the horse is quiet. No more than you would assume the alligator is dead. Simple as that. Next time somebody says, well, why don't you just climb on old Fluffy here? Well, maybe you want to move Fluffy around a little bit. Maybe you want to check out the look in Fluffy's eye. Maybe you want to get an idea how many notches Fluffy has on his belt. Because Fluffy might come to life just like that alligator did. So remember, horses, just like alligators, never assume the alligator is dead.